We are ready for our second match of Group B, and it sees the former world champion Carl Morris up against a 4-times world champion Emma Cunningham, and it's Emma Cunningham that will break off. Had a bit of a shuffle round in the commentary box, and joining me for this match as the 8-ball is flying around the table is Ultimate Pool professional Carl Sutton. Good afternoon, Carl.
Good afternoon, Simon. Hello, everyone.
Great matchup here that we've got in front of us. Carl has been magnificent this year throughout the Pro Series with some really dramatic matches and entertaining quick clearances and 6 red shootouts and everything along the way. And he'll start this match as favourite. I was going to say it was Emma with the first chance, but that was a delicate first shot. I think it's important in this match that Emma gets off to a good start. The matches she's had this year where she's put some of the players under pressure hasn't quite worked out for her, but I think if Carl gets off to the better start, the pressure will build on Emma.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, the start is definitely more important for Emma than it is to Carl. You know, if Emma gets off well and gets a couple of frames under her belt, that really puts the pressure on Carl.
Carl just deciding to get a red off the table at the same time as potting that yellow.
I think that's just made his finish a little bit easier. Now the black is obviously available into that pocket. But he's just got to, I mean, with the 2 at the bottom, he's got a choice. He can either try and land on a plant, or if he can get on the inside of the one, play the one closest to the pocket, and then the one above it into the same pocket.
It's going to have to be the plant. Purposely leaving yellow at the top of the table because he wants that for his last ball to drop onto the 8-ball. So he needs
I think he played both, to be honest. I think I think he's played to land on the other one to pot it clean, but he knew that if he was short, he was always going to be onto the plant. He's played that well. It's really well controlled. Yeah,
really important for him to land on the one that he was moving, to leave that one at the top for the last ball. So he's done really well here.
Here we go, this simple 8 for the first frame.
And the simple 8 is no problem for Carl Morris. He's up and running. A couple of lovely little subtle shots in that clearance to make the clearance by opening up the 8-ball, and the way he managed to leave it for the yellow for the last ball at top right. Let's have a quick look at his profile. And you can see I said he's had a very, very good season. Ranked 6th. Best performance was a runner-up finish in Pro Event 5. But the big thing on his profile there, 1998 world champion and world number 1 from 1998 to 2001. He is, or was, the youngest ever world champion, and that hasn't been beaten. Incredible career he's had a bit of a break away from the game for the last few years, but decided to come back with Ultimate Pool and starting to really find his feet. Gets the 8-ball in motion as well. The reason I keep referencing the 8-ball is the golden break. It's in operation for this tournament. If you make the 8-ball off the break, you do win the frame.
And the dreaded golden duck.
And of course the dreaded golden duck. If you make the 8-ball and foul by potting the white or jumping the white off the table, then you are going to lose the frame.
The yellows are definitely the better suit here, but I don't think Emma can really get to one. Unless this red passes.
Red ball's in play.
Passes the yellows. Going by the overhead, maybe off the jaw. You're going to want to be nice on it.
I think it just about slides in. She might look at taking it now.
I'm not sure if she's pushed them 2 red safe at the top, or whether she can just. I think she might just be able to get through. Yeah, she can. Oh, perhaps not.
Just pinching the pocket a fraction.
I can't see Carl making a mistake from here either.
Just have another look at that miss from Emma. You can see why she's missed it on that draw is because the red to the right hand side was sort of almost forcing her to pot it that way. So there's 2 chances of come and gone for Emma Cunningham. The first one very, very difficult.
One thing about Carl, I think he's a very, very clever player. You know, he doesn't do anything special as such, but just his roots and the little flicks that he play. For anybody that's trying to sort of learn, I think he's a very good player to watch, because it's not just all about pot and balls, and he does all the other stuff very, very well.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's also a very entertaining player to watch. I'm sure you'll be able to comment on this from first-hand experience, but he can be a frustrating player to play against. But from a commentary box, he is a lot of fun.
I've never really had any issues with him, to be honest. I played him a few times over, like, obviously years ago, but no, none at all. Played that nice, so just cut this in round the back of the red for the easy 8 in the middle.
And there it is. You said he wouldn't have any issues with the clearance, and he made it look very, very simple. 2-0 lead. And he's up and running. He's not happy with it, though. Not happy with the control of the cue ball through that finish, but he's being ultra critical on himself. But Emma will be frustrated because she had first chance in both frames. A quick look at her profile as the balls are being racked up, and it's a very impressive profile. 4 times world champion, 4 times European champion, and 4-time world masters winner. But coming into the Ultimate Pool Pro Series is a big new challenge for Emma Cunningham, and like so many, she's going to take a little bit of time to get up and running and find her feet with it. And really looking forward to seeing how she goes in 2022. I think we've seen some really good performances from her in 2021, but it hasn't quite worked out for her in the results column.
I think that her level overall has improved, though, just by playing with the guys, and obviously the level that everyone's playing at. I've seen her in sort of like in ladies events, and even some of the games in the series that she's lost. I can definitely see improvement in her game.
Completely agree. I think what's happening is that I think she's finding she's just being punished a lot more, so that she's having to raise her level. But it's just not that easy. It's such a tough school out there in the Pro Series. Lovely break here, though. Got the 8-ball in motion once again.
Red balls in play.
These are laid out really nicely for her. Couple of reds just to be careful playing on.
It's all about that one in the centre for me. I'm not sure if she can, where's the best place to sort of drop on it, or whether she's got to move it.
I think if she tries to drop on it, then it's what you play on afterwards, isn't it? Because your cue ball has to go into the yellow.
Yeah.
She'd love to get onto it next if she can.
Yeah, I think she played for the middle, but I think it was very tough to get nice on it from where she was. She didn't really have much angle to play with.
This is now a very tough cut, and the cue ball's running very loose on her. Brilliant. Deserved better.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Deserved better than that kiss.
At one point it looked like she could potentially be on both, and she's on neither.
Yeah, if she misses the 8-ball, she's fine. If she catches the 8-ball full ball, she's absolutely fine. Catching it 3/4 ball the way she did has left her on absolutely nothing.
And even if she manages to get out of this snooker and pot a ball, it's very unlikely she's going to land on the other one.
Loss of turn.
Okay, so she
I'd say it could have been worse.
Yeah, she gets out the snooker, and the yellow going in is no problem at all. Just hands the table over to Carl Morris, and he doesn't have a clean run to the line in this frame. That yellow on the break line's a problem ball for him. This is where we might see, you called it a minute ago, Carl Morris is a very clever player. We might see him start to think about that. May not go for the finish. I think he wants to get the red off the table whilst hiding the white. That's not the best shot he's ever played.
No, I'm not quite sure what he's tried to play. Whether he's just tried to get the red next to the 8.
Yeah, because he almost didn't play it with authority to try and pot the red, and even if he he was always going to leave the double on. So if he pots the red, he's leaving a double with the 8 ball there. So a very strange choice of shot in the end from Carl Morris. I'm having a look to see whether she could cut that red possibly off the 8 ball, but the double's there for her.
Double for the frame.
Extension called.
I think she definitely can pot that red, but are you going to get better than where you are now? At least she's got a shot.
Lovely.
It's a great shot.
No mistakes with the 8 ball. Lovely double to get the first frame on the board for Emma Cunningham. Still trails by 2 frames to 1, but definitely a trick missed from Carl Morris. Take a quick look at the strange shot that we saw him play. If he was trying to get that red off the table, he was leaving the same double.
Yeah, I think he's played to knock the red next to the 8.
I think in the end he's possibly just overthought it. We mentioned how clever a player he can be, but I think he's just talked himself into a shot that's probably not the right way to go in that situation. He could have played something a bit safer down the table.
There was no reason why you couldn't have gone for the finish.
Yeah,
really.
One good positional shot required to go for the finish.
There was plenty of room around that ball to land on either in a corner or the middle.
I thought when he was going to try and take the ball off the table that he would be screwing the cue ball to the bottom of the table trying to get some cover somewhere.
Yes,
There wasn't a good place or a big margin on that shot, but very surprised. But either way, it's cost him the frame and he's going to have to get back to work.
It'd be a nice settler for Emma, though, after having a couple of chances in the first 2 frames to get the first frame on the board.
Yeah, definitely, and of course 3-0 or 2-1 makes a big difference as
of
well.
Course,
so this could be a big pivotal frame. Carl Morris will hope it won't be, and he'll hope that he gets this frame on the board and just keeps rolling. He's given himself the opportunity to do so. Tricky cut back on the yellow here.
And
Tricky cut back.
So another opportunity for Emma.
Yeah, and these yellows are really nice for her. Hardest ball on the table is going to be the 8 ball. In this situation, with the 8 ball being where it is and you've got the yellow just to the inside it, would you ever consider moving that 8 ball, or are you just always going to back yourself just to play on it?
On this table, I'd back myself to pot it.
Yeah.
Just because I think that with the conditions and the new cloth, I don't class myself as a good rail player, but I'm happy to play them on this table. I just think that that's a bit more lenient with the balls as you play them, in my opinion. So I'm quite happy to leave that 8 there.
Yeah, the brand new cloth, it does make the pockets play that a little bit more generous.
I mean, if she leaves the yellow next to the 8 till last, she's going to be bang on it anyway.
Maybe wanted to be a shade straighter on this yellow to the left centre.
I think she's got that's a bit more tricky to hold now.
Just wonder if she plays this plain ball. Is the path of the cue ball going into the red near the break line? In which case, that wouldn't be the worst place to be. It's going into yellow.
That's what she's playing.
Just slid by it, but that's okay.
Just depends on her angle now. She doesn't want to be straight. She's got a slight sort of off angle to come off the cushion.
She did look at the yellow past the 8-ball into the right centre pocket.
So that tells me that she is too straight on that one.
She may be playing for the double rather than trying to get nicely on it.
I think she's got too much angle on that.
He comes around the table to have a look at the double. Already made a good double in the previous frame to win that one.
She looks nice on it. Oh, round the jaw. She'll be disappointed there. I mean, I expected her to get that double, but just with her work on the yellows earlier in the finish, to not be on the 8 down the rail.
It's an interesting one actually, because I think a lot of players in that situation, as Carl tries to move that red on the cushion, would be annoyed with themselves for missing the double. But actually, I'm with you. I think in truth the error that, if Emma looks back at it, will be that she didn't land nicely on it down the rail, where you'd feel that she couldn't miss it.
The bad shot was the one into the bottom left.
Yes.
Where she's landed with too much angle on the one in the left centre.
Well, Emma made a mistake in the previous frame. It wasn't punished from Carl Morris, and that cost him the frame. But the same scenario here.
I think Carl's just going to drop this in and then play the double. Good shot. Now, can he hold, or has he got to go up the table and then back down?
Yeah,
I think he'll be able to hold. No, he's decided to go up. That was his angle. Not sure. It doesn't look great.
No, it looks like it's just off straight the wrong way.
He's down quite quick.
You're going to have to really hit this well.
Yeah.
And he's not hit it perfectly, and this is now really awkward.
They're quite tough to play with the new cloth as well, because obviously the white is just going to spin there for some time, sort of, a bit of a banana effect.
The good news is, playing this shot, we saw a very similar sort of situation in a match earlier on, as if he covers the pocket, it's not the end of the world.
No.
But he does a great cut. No mistakes with the 8-ball. Excellent cut along the bottom cushion. Opens up that 2-frame lead once again. Carl Morris 3-1 in front. Although he's still shaking his head and frustrated with it. You can see Carl had the first opportunity. We can have a look at the miss in the middle pocket. That handed a great chance to Emma Cunningham, who potted all the way through to this double. Even though I think we both feel that she should have been on that down the rail, still expected her to make the double.
Oh yeah, 100%. She was on it nice.
Fine margins in this game though. Difference between 2-2 and 3-1.
Yeah, Emma's going to be disappointed. She's had enough chances to, probably be leading the match, let alone be level.
For me, she's had 3 of the 4 first chances, but also the one time she didn't, Carl missed his first shot. So essentially almost like 4 really good chances from the break for Emma. And she's going to get another one.
Not the nicest split.
Emma going for the second ball down break, the cut break. Hitting them quite solid with the cut break as well. More often than not getting good movement on the 8-ball, not this time. Two tricky yellows on this table.
She could choose to attack the one next to the 2 reds now if she really wanted to.
That's what she's gone for, and that's not worked out at all. In these sort of situations, Carl, are you always going to just keep going, or do you think there's a time? Do you ever sort of set yourself a point where you go, okay, that cannon's not come out, so do I pull back now, or do you go for another try?
I think you have to. You have to draw the line somewhere, because if you keep chasing in this situation, you know, percentage-wise, what's the likelihood of getting a finish from here? And you know, depending on how far into the finish you get, you're just handing your opponent the frame. You know, these rules are definitely very, very attacking. I had a situation yesterday in my game where if I was playing a different rule set, I'd just sort of pot a ball, get on a suit, and then try to tie something up. But in these, there's just no hiding.
Almost forces you to be a bit more aggressive. Emma's potted 3 balls and still had 2 problem balls. Well, now she's developed one of them, which is good, but it's very difficult to develop that yellow on the right-hand side.
I mean, what can you even do? You know, you can't get it. You can't get into the yellow and the reds off this yellow.
Just wondered if she could leave a cross double and try and get into the yellow. Very difficult.
Off the bottom cushion.
Off the bottom cushion, yeah.
Extension call.
I think she just played to move the yellow and then sort of see where she landed after that. See if she knocked it into a place where she could then get into the other one.
Yeah, a visit that went wrong quite quickly for Emma Cunningham, and Carl's just going to tie her up in knots. We just missed that on camera, but he's just played a very good little snooker to tie Emma Cunningham up. This is the shot he played.
Oh, and she's done Carl's work for him. Everything goes now.
Yeah, in this rule set especially, last thing you want to do is open up your opponent's balls in that situation, because they've still got to do the work. Because all you get is cue ball in hand. You don't get a free shot to do any developing or anything along those lines. So Emma making life a little bit easier for Carl Morris with that shot.
See me, I'm playing the one next to the yellow here.
To get onto the one on the yellow, yeah, the one next to the yellow straight away.
Yeah.
Sorry, because you've got a cue ball in hand, you play the hardest ball first. You place yourself in the hardest place to get to. We'll see if that comes back to.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with him. Every, you know, in certain situations there are multiple ways, and everyone has their preference.
It does look like, well, he's definitely leaving his hardest ball for his last shot. It's only his hardest ball if he doesn't land nicely on it. That's the key.
Because if he's not straight on this ball, he might leave an angle onto the red next to the yellow where he's got to play into the yellow. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still expect him to clear up, but then he's not going to be ideal onto the 8.
And he has left that angle, so the cue ball's going straight into the yellow ball, and that's his reaction to it. Not happy at all.
Like I say, everyone has their preference. I just think that there was less chance of the finish going wrong if he'd have played that ball first.
Yeah, because by hand he could have placed the perfect angle on this pot. So it just drops it in, accepts slightly awkward position on the 8 ball.
It's just a case of the in-off now, because he can't really get much onto the white.
Oh, I love commentating on Carl Morris. He tells us exactly what he's thinking out there.
He's just digging down a little bit, I think. Oh no, he's not played that.
Where's the cue ball? Well, he didn't play the treble, so he was very fortunate for a second and then very unfortunate. That's a bit of a head scratcher for Carl Morris, a frame that's very much got away from him, an absolute late Christmas present for Emma Cunningham there, gift wrapped by Carl Morris. That is a major mistake, and really keeping Emma in the match really as well.
Yeah, you know, 4-1 is kind of, you know, there's a lot of breathing space. You know, free from home, the clock ticking down, all the pressure on Emma. But with that, that's game on again.
Yeah, absolutely. Kept Emma in it. I think he was very much playing the double, not the treble. He was ready to apologise, but the cue ball flies in as well.
Frame 6. Carl Morris to break.
As we just tick over the halfway point in this match as well, something to keep an eye on. It's a 40-minute match, a race to 7. Final 10 minutes, we will be down to 15 seconds a shot. So there's plenty of mileage left in this match.
Emma with another good opportunity here.
Yeah, once again, Emma gets the first chance.
I think just the one problem next to the red next to the 8.
Could you make a case for yellows if you don't want to solve that problem? The 8 ball goes independently of the reds.
Yes, yeah, all the yellows go.
You see the 8 ball clearly goes through the gap of the reds. Emma is going to take on the reds, though.
With the clock, I just find that sometimes after you break, because you have to sort of react so quickly, if you look at one suit and you think, yeah, they're all right, you don't necessarily look at the other. I feel like that cost me my game against Gareth at the last Pro Series. I've gone back and I've watched it. I didn't even look at the reds. I think I was 6-5 up.
Game. Yeah,
and I see all the yellows go close to the corner, and I'm like, if I'm on one of them, I'm pretty much home. So then I'm looking at them. Then the clock starts beeping at me, and so then I've got to use my extension. And then I'm looking at another yellow, thinking, if I pot that one, where can I leave myself? And while this is all going on, all the reds are just sitting there.
It is amazing, isn't it, that you almost have to go with your gut feel, because 30 seconds a shot, and especially when we go into the 15 seconds a shot in the final 10 minutes, you haven't got time to work out multiple patterns and multiple ways. You almost have to go with your natural instinct. And if it's easy for us to sit in the commentary box and say there may be better ways to go, but when you're out there, oh, what a shot from Emma Cunningham.
Again, I think deserved better, to be honest.
She has picked one out here. This is a brilliant 3-ball plant. Still got plenty of work to do to make this finish. And that one's not going to drop. Just fractionally overcut it onto the jaw. And actually where the cue ball finished, he wasn't perfect on the next ball anyway, so at least it's giving Carl Morris a headache here.
I think he's going to drop her in.
Extension call.
He could play the white onto it, or yeah.
Loss of turn.
I mean, the red goes long, but the odds of then getting onto the other one are very, very slim. Might even go in there, but again, there's no real.
Can't play position.
No, I don't feel like she's got enough of the pocket to be able to afford to hit it hard. Wow, she's done better than I thought.
It's a great pot. Didn't quite get the cue ball up the table. Carl's frustrated, shaking his head all the way through. But where can Emma find for this 8 ball? No safety options available. Gone for the middle pocket. What an effort. That was a great effort.
I think she's just on the 8 as well.
There's very, look how close it is to the yellows just to get here. This is, yeah, it's very tough. So Carl's tactical shot is rewarded with an opportunity. It's been a strange match so far, because I think both players will be frustrated with the way it's gone. I think Emma will feel like she's had enough first chances to almost have the scoreline reversed, and Carl will feel like he's had enough chances to mop up and he could be clear in this match.
Yeah.
Neither player fully happy at this stage.
I think Carl, in a way, he'll find himself fortunate, you know, because Emma has had opportunities. Carl's not played his best, but he's still 4-2 ahead, or likely to be 4-2 ahead.
Just overrun that positional shot a fraction. I'd love to have been straighter. Just means you're moving the cue ball more than you ever want to, and he's now got an angle where he's going away from the 8 ball. Small margins, but there's a difference between being right behind this and not.
Yeah.
Still a comfortable enough 8 ball for Carl Morris, though. And no mistakes with it. Yeah, so 4-2 in front now, 3 frames away from the last 16, and a matchup with Tom Cousins, who looked to be in brilliant form in the match just before this one, beating Jimmy Croxton 7 frames to 1.
Yeah, really good performance that from Tom. He said he was nervous before the game, but there was no sign of nerves there for me.
Yeah, almost saw it. Once he got that first clearance off the break, he went 1-0 down after missing a pot. But once he got that second frame on the board and then a third frame, which he won the third frame,
soon
to
settled
ahead,
down.
he just completely settled and played like the Tom Cousins we've known for the last few years.
He was here last night, and then he was here quite early this morning, practicing on his own.
Yeah, hours of dedication required. He was here early before the match to really put some time in, make sure he was ready.
He said he's got a new tip.
Emma Cunningham to break.
And he was just sort of bedding it in a little bit. Plus, he said that he was struggling with certain shots playing with side.
He didn't notice on the table,
No,
though, that's for sure. Well, back to this match. Emma breaking off, and once again, a good break with the cut break. And once again, Emma Cunningham gets first opportunity.
Does the yellow next to the red pass? I believe it goes. Yeah, that goes bottom left. Good shot. And I think she's managed to hold on this one. Very close to it.
I think it's just enough of a gap to be comfortable. Control.
Just drift over to the left-hand side. Or she's decided to do that.
So she's going to have to take the one to the top right now, which for me makes the one that she's nearest to a slight problem ball, because it's not a natural ball to get onto that one down the cushion.
She's kind of got to play off 2, but go very close to the top left, which I think is what she tried, but she just
holds up her hand to apologise because she hasn't left Carl much, but Carl should be happy just to come to the table and get involved in this frame.
no, not close, but he's hit the right jaw there, so he's managed to cover that from Emma. Possible double.
Have another look at the miss. Difficult shot. If the double's on, then probably need to take it straight away. Looks like that's what she's going to do.
Good shot, but
Snookered herself on the plant into the left centre pocket.
yeah, she's in trouble again now.
The only yellow she can see is at the top of the table, and she can't do a huge amount with that one. She might just be able to flick one of the ones, the one nearest the left centre pocket, but very, very thin. Can't do anything with that.
Extension called.
What do you play here, Simon? Is it literally? I mean, I'm thinking off the left on 2 and just try and nestle on the red. Again, low percentage, but
Whatever you try here is going to be low percentage. She's gone for the double, I think.
Foul. Ball in hand. Time running.
I think what's happening here for Emma, I think she's getting more and more frustrated because she can't quite get control of the cue ball. So I think she's really struggling out there with the cue ball control, and that's making every time she comes to the table it's one thing being able to pick a pattern and pick a route, but if you can't quite put the cue ball where you want to, it's just going to get harder and harder, and then the frustration builds.
When the table fitter was here this morning and I see him cloth it, and he was sort of playing balls from corner to corner, obviously just to see if it was level. And he's tapped a ball, and I'm thinking, well, that's not even going to reach, and it's gone straight in the hole.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the quickest cloths I've ever seen.
I had a quick chat with Shane Thompson after his win. I think he was saying the same thing, that it really is absolutely lightning out there. I think the red that's in the middle of the table goes between the other two. Doesn't need to do that if he doesn't want to, but helps the situation.
Nice punch to the rail.
Just about to tick
Does
into
it go in the middle? Just now having a look. That'll make his work easier if it did.
As we just tick into the final 10 minutes, so 15 seconds a shot after this shot.
Yeah, it goes on the right jaw.
15-second shot clock in play.
So ABC here for Carl. Anywhere on the line if you want to be perfect. There you go.
Just missed the line, but I think he'll take it. Another frame on the board for Carl Morris, 2 frames away from a matchup with Tom Cousins in the last 16. Another opportunity that gets away from Emma Cunningham, and this match is going to get harder and harder. 3 frames behind as we go into the last 10 minutes.
I see her there sat in her seat, head bowed down. She look a bit dejected now, to be honest.
I think it's just harder and harder when you can't get hold of that cue ball. The frustration builds, and every time you come to the table, the chances feel harder and harder. She needs something good to happen quickly to get back into this match. Whether that be a good chance from the break.
Frame 8. Carl Morris to break. Leading 5 frames.
But it is
to 2.
Carl Morris's break first.
She can't lose another frame, can she? You know, I think there's enough time for her to win 3, but not 4.
Well, once again, she's going to get first opportunity. I also find that when you're having a frustrating match like Emma is at the moment, you almost feel like you get a lot of the first chances, and you always keep making them awkward for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you're making the game easier for your opponent. Almost helps her, if it happened the other way around a little bit, that she was getting a few of the chances to mop up afterwards, just to get the cue arm going and get control of yourself out there.
Yeah, I agree.
But you never want your opponent to have those chances, of course. But
no, but it's always nice when they get a few, and you know, he sort of kind of gift you a couple of frames, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Or a couple of real good opportunities. You know, sort of clear 3-4 balls, then miss, and leave you a nice little, you know, no obstacles in the way. It's just dot, dot, dot.
And a bit more margin of error on your shots, just to get a little bit more freedom in your cue arm. So Carl takes on reds following that miss from Emma.
He's just left him. Can he put this one in the middle, or is he playing plant? Or is he on
the corner.
Corner. Can we get through? Plenty of side on that. White's still spinning. Not the easiest of finishes.
Nice control. Yeah, there's one right in the middle, isn't it? That's slightly awkward to get to. If you get the perfect position on the next ball, you can make it all really simple, and they all connect up.
I mean, if you pot this one and sort of come between the red and the yellow below it, I think you could. Oh, that goes over there.
Yeah,
But then he's got to play. He's got to play that top left past the 8.
Yeah, that's the way I thought he was seeing it actually. And if he could get straight on the one he's just played, then it meant he could get straight on this one, and then that all sort of connected together. But he had more angle on it, which meant he had the angle that he had there, which meant he was going to get hampered queuing. So it's just all. It could be really, really simple, but being out by half a roll here and there makes such a massive difference.
I think the good thing with this is he's just got to pot the ball. I think he's going to cannon that Emma's yellow and hold.
He's not on the 8 ball nicely, but he is on the 8 ball. This is a horrible little cutback.
Good shot.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but he did get there in the end. Absolutely brilliant from Carl Morris. He really does let us know what he's thinking out there. It's brilliant to watch. 1 frame away now from that last 16 meeting with Tom Cousins. Not much time left on the clock for Emma to turn this one around. It's hard to see her doing it without a golden break. Something to really speed things up. I have to say, if it is Carl to go through, or whoever goes through from this match, with the way that Tom played in the previous match, and every match is different, but you feel like they'd need to up the level just a fraction to compete with the way Tom was taking his chances.
If you know the chance, no disrespect, the chances that Emma have had, Tom would have 9 times out of 10 lapped them up, and Carl would have been dead and buried in this game. But after the first group, after watching the first 2 rounds, the first 2 games, you'd have thought Shane was an absolute banker to beat John with how they both played, and then John's come back and beat him.
Yeah, I completely agree. No match is the same, but
Yellow balls in play.
from the commentary box, I do like to look at the way they've played and see if that's going to give them an edge. Carl misses the cannon on the yellow, trying to nudge it out.
He's knocked 2 other balls right close together as well.
He's not going to be overly concerned with 5 minutes, or just over 5 minutes left on the clock. 4 frame advantage. I think he knows he's in a fairly comfortable position.
He's won the match in my opinion already, just because of the clock. You know, even if he lost this frame and then Emma won the next, you're going to have what, 2 minutes left, and then if he gets a visit, he can easily waste a minute of that.
That was a lovely cannon. Lovely pot and cannon to get that ball out. Doesn't look like either of those yellows goes to the right centre, but it looks like he's playing for it. Can't do much more than just drop this one in and leave the cue ball where the yellow is. Klaxon for the time foul, but he clearly hit that just in time. Because of the match clock, I think Emma's going to feel forced into just chasing this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'd quite fancied potting Carl's yellow and coming to the other side of the table, sort of behind the reds and the black. I know she's not got much time, but Carl would have only probably had 1 visit, and then all of your balls are there for the taking.
Yeah, the one thing you absolutely can't do is lose the frame. So even if you know, I guess it's a judgment call, isn't it? But with only 4 minutes on the clock, you don't want to give your opponent that chance to kill 15 seconds. And that could well be Emma Cunningham's last shot in this tournament. Carl Morris now has the chance to get to 7 frames and not worry about the match clock at all.
Yeah, he played that nicely. There's always a chance that the yellow can go safe the other side of the red. So I think Carl will be happy to win, but not happy with the performance. But he knows that he'll definitely have to up his game if he wants to stand a chance against Tom.
Well, now that he's won, which he has, 7 frames to 2, he knows he has the power to be able to improve that performance. But it is a solid victory for Carl Morris, 7 frames to 2 over Emma Cunningham.